Greetings, and today I have another deck for you guys. I'm sorry that this is going to be another Monday upload just because I started cramping over the weekend because I played so much sports and I was sort of recuperating, and as you can tell my voice is kind of low because of the yelling I've done. But I'm still going to deliver a deck video for you guys. It's just going to be uploaded tomorrow. So look for it tomorrow afternoon after I come back from work. So it's probably around between 6 and 8 p.m. hopefully. Anyway, so I have another version of the Arachas Queen control deck, which is a deck, sort of a mechanic that I've sort of been working with a lot lately. Just because I want to be able to sort of get used to how control decks work. Even though the control deck isn't exactly a deck that I would like to rely on when it comes to big profile matches if I ever get to any of those. But it's good to sort of learn every strategy, every strategy that every deck has to offer. So which is why I like going to Gwent Up and the Gwent database as well that CD Projekt Red has been creating for their website, which is actually pretty nice. I have some pretty good inspiration decks there as well. That's I also plan on releasing on future videos. But for now, we're just going to release another version of the Arachas Queen deck. Now, originally, the deck that I found regarding this was a use where they used Renew to sort of get Yennefer's ability off twice. But just because of my style of play and how that didn't really suit me that much, just because I find Renew to be such a high cost card that the amount of 5 and 4 costs I have are actually pretty high. It didn't really suit me. So I added in Naglfar. So I'm going to go through the deck again one by one. So this is going to be a no gameplay video. I have been doing more gameplay / guide videos separately, just because, I want to share my thoughts with you guys on how the decks work. And I notice that whenever some of you guys see the gameplay, you always ask for the deck list. So I might just leave a link to sort of the gameplay and the guide that go for the same deck. So this deck is a control Arachas Queen, as always, just because I think that's what Arachas Queen is best identified as, but with the use of Yennefer, in which it lets you boost up all your units by 2. Now, I tried a similar control deck with the Firesworn and Cyrus Hemmelfart, but you gotta be careful with the amount of units you put onto the field, just because of the tendency of your rows being too full, and you won't be able to place any other creatures off, in which case it'll be completely useless. So in that case, you want to establish control obviously every round. You don't want to have so many control cards at the end of the round in which it fills up the board so much that it becomes utterly useless to put all of your boosting cards. So we're going to go down the list. So sort of the main core, the main support for this control deck is Yennefer Vengerberg. Unless you're playing a mirror control deck, and which is likely not gonna happen, but you do come across the odd case from time to time. She lets you boost all your other units by 2. So worst case scenario, if both you and your opponent's fields are completely full of units, then she's just 2 power card. That's pretty much all she is. But if that's not always going to be the case, and the fun part about her is you can always choose to damage or boost if you find that you're being out controlled by your opponent. Then you can always play her melee deploy ability, but that's not usually what you'd want to use her for. But that's pretty good support for Yennefer, and I thought I'd give that a try. So she's going to be featured in today's deck. Royal Decree, pretty straightforward. Lets you play any unit from your deck. Lots of potential combos you can have out here, which is great. Any pieces that you want to take out. That's why I find Royal Decree to be one of my favorite cards in the deck, or in the game. Naglfar is a card I actually haven't gotten to use yet with any of my monster units, and I like it because you take a look at two random gold cards, you play one, and the other one goes on top of your deck. So you're essentially guaranteed to play both unless you're playing Disrupt Nilfgaard, in which they just banish the top card of your deck, in which case you're kinda done for. But other than that, Naglfar actually I find to be a pretty strong card. I would say it's pretty close in power with Royal Decree, with the case, except the case where it's 2 random gold cards so you don't get to choose. But if you got to choose, it'd be a bit too powerful. Frightener Dormant, again, works pretty well with this deck just because of the control aspect and that you want to be destroying creatures so that Arachas drones can keep coming out. I mean, you don't really want that to happen, but it's in case it does happen, you have the Frightener to come out, which is great. Tainted Ale. So there is a bit of, so in order to ensure that Yennefer is going to benefit you 100%, you want to add, cards were added here with the intention of removing your opponent's cards from the field. And Tainted Ale does that in a way. It only damages it by 6, which isn't too much, but you know, because of how rare damage cards are nowadays and how a lot of people are making damage based decks, Tainted Ale is one of the more valuable cards. You got Glusty Warp. Again, Glusty Warp is pretty essential with Arachas Queen / Arachas Drone style decks. You want to have a Glusty Warp. Whispering Hillock is a good one. It's essentially, if you read the text, it pretty much says Death Wish. Death Wish, summon a copy of it. That's essentially what it says. It turns, you add that ability to the unit that you're using it to. Sorry. So, it's a good way to getting 2 Death Wishes off. So you played on the Harpy Egg, you get the Harpy again for a second time, because Whispering Hillock brings back the Harpy Egg for a second time, and if you manage to destroy it, then another Harpy comes out. So it's pretty good for Death Wish power here. So obviously you want to combine the Arachas control with Death Wish, because again, in the off chance that you do have to destroy your units, you're getting something out of it. You're not just destroying it for no reason. So that's actually pretty nice. Chiron is sort of what I call the cleanup crew of the deck, where if you have any stranding Death Wish cards, you want to get rid of them using Chiron. And not only does it add more power to itself, but you're going to get more of those drones out, which is great for that control establishment for the eventual use of Yennefer. Going down the line, we have Caranthir, which lets you spawn a 1 power copy of a card from your hand and summon it. So again, you want to add more Death Wish monsters, feel free to do it with Caranthir. You can also, I believe you can only use it on bronze units. Nope, any unit. So you can use it on gold units. So if you want a card's trigger ability to be activated twice, you want to be able, I believe it doesn't matter if it's bronze or not. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's bronze or not. So for example, if you play Yennefer, you can actually play Caranthir first, and then you can use it to spawn a Yennefer. I don't know if that's how this card actually works, because I'm not too familiar with it. If some of you guys know, please let me know in the comments. That'd be great. But the combos that can come with this card is pretty great. The only downside I can see with this is that it kind of gives the opponent information as to what is in your hand, which might be able to help them sort of prepare for it. But the risk is less than its reward. So Caranthir is a pretty decent addition to the deck. Pugo Boombreaker, one of my favorite cards in the Monsters faction. It's one of those cards where you have to play it sort of early, or surround your field with, or fill up your field with cards that can be destroyed. With a card with Death Wishes to bring in Pugo Boombreaker. So no matter who he damages, it doesn't matter, because they all have Death Wish abilities and he can kind of go rampant. And not to mention, an Arachas Drone's always going to come out from it. So Pugo Boombreaker, I think, is a better addition here than to the than to the big monster that you kind of saw me that the video was. Let me reword this. Pugo Boombreaker is a better addition to this style of deck versus the big monster deck that I did I think a few videos ago. I can't remember how long it's been now. It's been a while. Going down the line, we have Weircat. Weircat is mostly used because of it's sort of a mini Lacerate. That's what a Weircat is. It's not a mini. It's a Lacerate divided to 2 parts. So it damages it by half a Lacerate on its deploy, and it damages it by the other half of the Lacerate on Death Wish. So I essentially have 2 Lacerates here. Only A, it's 2 power, and B, it has the Thrive ability, which means it gets stronger every time you play stronger monsters. But if you're playing a bunch of Arachas Drones, obviously that's not going to be the case. And the reason why, and as I've already mentioned, having all these cards that do disruption, damage, and removes the field does A, help you establish control, and B, helps you set up for Yennefer, sort of in the later run. Next, down the line, we have Lacerate. Kind of already went through it. Damage cards. Bone Talisman. Now, the problem I was talking about is if you have a full field of monsters and you cannot play Yennefer, Bone Talisman is actually a pretty good alternative to that. It's not as powerful as... Actually, it can be arguably stronger than Yennefer in a way, because it guarantees a maximum of 18-point boost. Whereas Yennefer doesn't always do that, because sometimes it depends on how many cards your opponent has. But arguably, Bone Talisman can be as good as Yennefer when it comes to helping support the control deck. So I added in Bone Talisman as sort of an adjustment that I made, just because if we're going to try and establish control in Yennefer, why not get a little bit greedy with the points and put in a Bone Talisman, right? We got Parasite, which I'm most likely going to end up using it to damage an enemy by 6, which again, you want to do that to establish that control. Plus B, it's a tall removal card, which are very valuable nowadays with units boosts going up and provisions going down from the update. So having Parasite is actually pretty good. Forktail, you get to damage all the other units by 1, so A, it can do some potential removal from your opponent's side. You could say it's on my side too, but because it's Arachas Queen, not really. So overall, Forktail benefits me way more with the Arachas Queen. So I thought about adding 2 here, but I'm like, there's a lot of cards that already help support the Arachas Queen, so I thought I'd keep it for now. I thought of getting rid of the Tainted Ale for the Forktail, for a second Forktail, but Tainted Ale has more consistent removal than Forktail does. So I think I'm gonna keep it for now. Maybe I might make a change later on. Slizzard is good there. Again, if you have Death Wish units that will need to leave, Slizzard is pretty good. Plus, it can continuously eating Arachas drones to summon more. So it's progressive boosting from this Slizzard, unless of course it gets removed, and in which case it's useless. But the fact that it's just order now, I think it used to be roll limited, but But that's not so much the case anymore. So that's great. Again, I could be wrong. I can't remember. It's been a while. 2 Harpy eggs for them. Good old Harpy summons, plus the potential combos that can go with them. It's good to have Arachas drones, but it's even better to have 5 power Harpies. And even if those Harpies do get destroyed, Arachas drones come in their place. So, you'll always have that control. You just need to establish it early and make sure you maintain it towards the end. We have the Drowner. It's a removal card. That's what it is. Plus it's Thrive, so it does get powerful with the more powerful units that get played. The Arachas Nest. I'm not sure how I feel about having only 1 Arachas Nest here. I might think about putting 2 instead. But having 4 Arachas drones already is actually really powerful, believe it or not, especially in a deck like this. So I think I'll be okay playing with 1 for the time being. The Bran Warrior. Anytime a unit gets destroyed, it's pretty self-explanatory. You want that removal, that extra removal, or extra pinging, I should say, for that eventual removal, which is great. You got Foglet for that deck thin, which I like. Combo this with Pugo Boombreaker. Get another Foglet out there. It thins your deck just a little bit more. In addition with Naglfar and Royal Decree. I think it provides a pretty decent deck thin. Not as much as I would like, because I wanted to add Roach in here, but I think all these other cards actually do serve a purpose. Deck thin always serves a purpose in every deck, because you want to be able to use a deck's full potential. And sort of 2 Ancient Foglets to finish off the list. 1 power card, so they're easily removed, and when they do get removed, they come back even stronger. So this deck, I'm actually pretty excited to try out this deck. Let me know what your guys' thoughts about it in the comment section below. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe for more of Gwent content. But before I leave though, I've been sort of thinking about my formatting for doing videos, and I sort of want to make a bit of a twist. Obviously not now, but I'm starting to think about it a little bit in the future. I do want to make more deck related videos, just because I like looking up these decks online on Gwent to get some inspiration to create my own version of these decks that sort of fit my playstyle more. Of course, everybody has different playstyles, so kind of go with whatever you like. I just kind of like exploring through the many different types of decks, because I could try to master 1 deck, but the thing is, I'm not exactly that much of a pro player just yet. But I do know Gwent, the Witcher card games, I would say pretty well from the back of my head. So, I'm not a rookie. I'm not a rookie, but I'm also not a pro player. But yeah, I find it really fun, and I hope you guys continue to support me. But just by watching, even if you just watch, that'd be pretty great. So anyway, I'm gonna get my spiel out, and I'm gonna get out of here. So this ends up signing out. I'll see you guys in the next one.